and just do on my computer. And then I'll post it to YouTube later. But welcome to Champs Club. It is December 5th, 2022, and excited to get things rocking with so many things that are awesome going on right now. I mean, we've got, let's see, as far as today, what's going on in Salt Lake City, and we got pretty much everyone from Salt Lake City that's on today, which is great. And so I just want to say I got the email this morning, and as I probably would guess, Salt Lake City is the #1 office in the central region right now in new business sales by just under 4,000. So we're really cranking. I'm really excited for everyone, and we've had some really great results. New business means some of you don't even count for that. Sarah's sold $7 grand this week. She doesn't count for that. Bucky, you sold 3,000 whatever dollars. You don't even count for that. If you're under 30 grand, you do count for that. And if you've sold Cutco, you count for that. But we're the #1 office by a lot in the central region. So really, really great job. We're one of the top team building offices for the weekend, which is great. Also, we are #2 in total sales for the week this week, and that's pretty awesome. And we also have Faith Perkins, who's at $16,000 in sales for the week. In fact, just because I want to give you guys some little extra recognition, I will go ahead and pull up a little graphic online here. And so, yeah, Faith is at 40 orders for the week and 17,194 in sales. So that's pretty awesome. At 50% commission, you do the math on that, she's made over 6,500, basically $6,600 that she's made this week. So that's better than a kick in the face. And frankly, I've been kicked in the face. So, you know, I know that's better. Sarah, $7,100, average order $653. So that's really cool. Dustin's at 4,800, making 50%. So all these people right here making 50% commission. I'm sorry, Sarah, you're eked over the $150,000 mark.
Yeah,
so
I hit it this weekend.
Yeah, this $7 grand, you made 45% of most of that, but that put you over the 50% commission level permanently, which is really awesome. Bucky, you're just short of that 40% roughly that we know about for sure right now. And 41 grand in career sales, but 3,100 in sales this week. That's exciting. Bottom, congratulations at $2,200 at 30%. So you made 600 some odd dollars. Taylor's only sold 500 grand in his career. He's making 50% of that 1,700. Patrick's making 45% of 1,700 roughly. Megan just hit her 6K promotion. So that's really exciting with that $1,400 that she sold this week. She made her 6K promotion. Kira, you made your 6K promotion as well this week. That's really exciting. Austin's also at 30%, making 30% of 1,100. So, and then last night, Warren called me, sold a homemaker. So we've got some great stuff happening. And I just want to commend you all for, the hard work that you've been doing and the success that we're having. It's not an accident. It's hard. We're doing it on purpose. So I really appreciate everyone's effort. You make the benefit of that. You get the benefit of that. See, I want to go to my vector demo. I'm going to pull that up too, and we'll share screens in just a few minutes. But I want to talk today about recommendations. This would be a Champs Club today that if I were you, I would take notes. And you'll just get 5 main points. I got 5 main points today. We got 25 minutes, so I'm going to try and keep it to where we don't, make that last 4th or 5th point too rushed. Okay. So I'll try to keep an even keel and run through some points on getting recommendations. Raise your hand if you're on video, especially, or digital hand if you want to raise your digital hand. If you feel like you need to get better at getting recommendations, like you feel like that's you need to get better at recommendations. Okay. And so, and I'm glad that you're raising your hand. And I also want to point out that, if you didn't raise your hand, that's okay. You're lazy. You're just waking up. I'm just kidding. But here's the deal. If you didn't really think you need to get a lot of recommendations, that's one of 2 things. One, you actually know one of the secrets of Cutco, and that is this. You can write it down if you want. It's not the note, but the sub note that I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you the main point number 1. You actually know the little secret, and that is that the single greatest asset that every business has, and including a new Cutco rep a dentist, an orthodontist that's starting their own practice, a lawyer that's trying to make partner in a law firm, the single greatest resource that they have is their own network of potential clients. Because when a law firm is hiring for partners, they don't say, "Are you a good lawyer?" They actually say, "How much business are you going to bring to our firm?" Right? If you're a mechanic and you're trying to get into a great shop that does a lot of business and pays really well, they're not going to say, "Hey, can you fix the carburetor?" I don't even know if cars have carburetors anymore, but I don't even know what a carburetor does or is. But they're going to say, "How many clients, how many new customers are you going to bring to this mechanic shop?" Right? And when it comes to you getting to 30 or 40 grand, and I mean this, and I want you to look me in the eye here, and I want you to hear me loud and clear and say that you all, every one of you, no matter how shy, outgoing, builder, banker, innovator, merchant, extrovert, introvert, old, young, good looking, not as good, whatever you think, you actually have enough people on your original list to sell $30,000 or $40,000 worth of Cutco. And I mean that. If you were to sell 100 grand, I will tell you that you would have, and by the time you sell 100 grand, you probably will sell 30 to 40,000 of that to people that they know you, you know them, they buy again, they buy multiple times. But frankly, it's not just that. It's that you stop thinking, "I don't want to call them. I'm too nervous to call them. I don't know if I should call them," because somebody else is going to sell them a signature set if you don't. And I want you to hear that, because some of you just reactivated and you just sold a bunch of Cutco to people that bought a homemaker from you 10, 20 years ago or 2, 3 years ago, and you just sold a bunch more Cutco to them. They're going to buy a signature set eventually. And so you might as well be the person they buy it from. And I'll tell you loud and clear, they would rather buy a signature set from you. They would rather buy a homemaker from you. Okay. And that is really important to understand. They don't want to buy from a stranger. They don't want to buy from anybody. And they know that you're going to give them the best deal. They absolutely know that you're going to give them the best deal. And you should want to be that person that hooks your friends and family and their friends and family up, and people that know you and know of you. And so the point that I'm making, point number 1 of my 5 points this morning on getting recommendations, is you need to understand the importance of getting recommendations. Now, why did I just go off on your original list? Because guys, they're the single greatest way to get a lot of recommendations. Here's an example. How many of you, raise your hand, you flubbed recommendations with your aunt? You totally screwed up with your mom. You didn't get very many. There's 2 reasons. 1, you were brand new. You didn't even know how to do it. You were barely we spent 3 days teaching you how to show Cutco. And then we taught you 20 minutes in day 3 of training when you were nervous about your first demos to learn how to do a recommendations approach. And that's because you can ask your aunt for referrals for a year, and she'll keep giving you referrals. You can ask your mom for referrals for a decade, and she'll keep giving you referrals. You can ask your neighbor for referrals, and you'll see her at church. You'll see her down the street. You'll see her at the next neighborhood party, and you can ask her for referrals in 2 weeks, 2 months, 3, 4 fortnights from now, which is like 2 months. Okay. So you could keep calling people on people that you know and keep getting recommendations. So it almost kind of doesn't matter that you don't get referrals from someone you know, but that's also the second reason you might miss getting referrals, is because you forget the importance or don't understand the importance of getting referrals. And one of the reasons, and it's kind of sad, but it's true, and we all have this situation, that you forget the importance of getting referrals because you're not sure when you're brand new if you're going to be working here after 10 days or 10 weeks or 10 months or 10 years. You don't know. So you're not really sure how important referrals are. A new lawyer doesn't understand how important referrals really are. A new insurance agent doesn't really get how important referrals are. And a new orthodontist may not always understand how important it is that he gets referrals. So it's really important that you get referrals. Here's one way to think about it. I like this. In most cases, you're not going to make 30% off your grandma. I'm almost done with point number 1. In most cases, you're not going to get 30% commission off your grandma. You're going to get like 10 or 15% commission off your grandma. You're going to get 30% off your grandma's referrals. You're going to get 40% off your aunt's second generation of referrals. You're going to get 40 and 50% off referrals that your mom will give you 6 months from now. So you have to understand that referrals are where you are actually going to make some of the highest income you're going to make in your career, other than the fact that your mom will buy from you 5, 8 times over your career, or your neighbors will buy from you 2, 3, 4 times, right? But you will make tons of money off referrals because you're going to get those pay raises on the way to getting those referrals, and on the way to calling those referrals, and on the way to doing appointments with those referrals. And if you want to make that type of income, raise your hand. Then you should think, I should get referrals. I should get referrals always. How about this? You could get referrals from a 12-year-old. You're not going to do a demo for a 12-year-old, but you could certainly ask a 12-year-old for people they know that own a home and have kids. And they would give you like 10 referrals. You could give a referral. You could give a 12-year-old $5. They'll give you referrals. You give him $5. He'll buy candy and give you 10 people he knows that owns, a home and have kids, right? So you could get referrals from college kids, from roommates, from, people you're in class with. You could get referrals from any human being on earth. Now, you're not going to do a demo with those people, but you could get referrals from anybody. Your little sister, your little cousin, they will rat out their whole neighborhood. No, I'm just kidding. But they'll give you referrals, no problem. Okay. So again, understand the importance. And I'm not saying go to third graders and ask them for referrals. That'd be kind of awkward and you might get in trouble with somebody, who knows. Okay. But you people, that are 12, you could get referrals from anybody. So understand the importance and think, I got to get referrals from everybody. I would also say that middle-aged married homeowners probably will give you the most referrals of middle-aged married homeowners, right? And they have an easier access to middle-aged married homeowners than a 12-year-old. So number one point, again, get referrals, importance of getting referrals, and understand, again, subpoint, your original list is the single greatest asset you can possibly dream of to get more referrals. And if you stunk it up with your aunt and your mom and your grandma or anybody, go back to them and ask for referrals. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two, I can spend a little less time on, and that is rapport. Understand that rapport and not just jumping into your demo really is power. Rapport is power. And I'm not talking about power like, Saruman and Darth Vader power. I'm talking about power when it comes to closing power, recommendations power. It gives you an easier route to, if they like you and they like Cutco, they will refer their friends for days. Like you'll get 20, 30, 40 recommendations from multiple customers per week, Bonham. Say that again. You can get 20, 30, 40 recommendations from multiple customers per week when you have good rapport. And one of the biggest ways you can possibly do that is you got to get good at sharing your goals and sharing your purpose to selling Cutco. That you're trying to build your resume, you're trying to get experience, you're trying to get important skills, you're trying to get out of fast food, labor jobs, you're trying to get out of the typical rigmarole, you're changing your career, you're getting a new experience, you love the product and you really want to support the company because of the backbone of Cutco, right? And that you have reasons to work and you're, telling them about you, and then you got to share your goals with passion. Because when people know you have something you're working for, they will support it. They'll donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to causes like Children's Miracle Network, Operation Underground Railroad. They'll donate time. They'll go to the soup kitchen when there's a cause. It's the, what are the give boxes that the church has? They have the, whatever they're called. I forget what they're called, right? Those red boxes that you can like go and do the thing. At church, you've got the little Christmas tree with the things, the envelopes you pull off the thing, and they say this family needs, winter boots, and the 12 pairs of boots or whatever it is. And people will donate to a cause. Not that they're going to donate and buy Cutco, but at least when they're thinking about buying Cutco, they'd rather buy from someone who has a purpose, a cause, what they're working for. And yes, you will close sales and close bigger sales when there's a purpose. That's one of the reasons why Sarah sold $7,000. One of her biggest things was that she was in her town where she's from, and she was running a booth right there in Wyoming. And she told everyone about her goals to win a trip to Cabo. And she's halfway to Cabo, more than halfway to Cabo right now. In 1 week, she's got a 6-week period of time that she can earn this. And she's already, more than halfway to her goal of getting to Cabo, which is awesome, right? But people will, not only will they buy, but also when they don't buy, or when they do buy, or when they buy $2,000 or $3,000 worth of Cutco, they will actually give you more referrals when you have built rapport. And it isn't just about, let me go back and say, it's not just about sharing your goals, although I jumped into that. It's also about them. I think rapport building should be 2/3 about them, 1/3 about you. So if you're taking quick notes, 2/3 about them, 1/3 about you. 2/3 about them also gives you closing power, because you find out they cook, you find out they hunt, you find out they garden, you find out they have 10 kids and they're all in the middle age, like 15 to 25 years old, and they could buy 15 pairs of super shears because they need a few for their own house and then 10 for their kids, and they've got one kid that has kids and they need pair of shears also, right? Or whatever. You might accidentally sell some big gift orders because you find out, you build rapport, right? People, they say the most important word in the English language is a person's own name. Like the word I like to hear the most is Phil or Dad, right? Well, let me also say this. The most important subject in my world is me. It's what it is. That's just the one I know the most about. I'm the most familiar with me. I can tell you stories about me. I'm the most knowledgeable. I could tell you about other people too. I studied things about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Bono from U2, and Michael Jordan. I could tell you stuff about them, but I can tell you stuff about me a lot easier. So the easiest person and the easiest family and the easiest group of people it is for me to talk about is people that I'm the closest to. I know the most about my kids. I know the most about my wife. So it's easy for me to talk about me and us. And that's why rapport should be 2/3 talking about them, 1/3 talking about you. And if you ever go on a date and you want to just really connect with this person, let them talk about themselves and ask questions about that person. Ask questions about them and what they do and what are they passionate about. And they're going to think, wow, that person, he was such a great conversationalist. And it's like, you just let them talk about themselves. And you know what? You were the great conversationalist. So if you ever want to build rapport on a date, let them talk about themselves and ask them questions about themselves, and they'll think you're the most interesting person they've ever heard talk, because you let them talk about themselves. Okay, so 2/3 them, 1/3 you. That's rapport. Number 3 is the program. So the third most important key to getting recommendations is that the program. So let's jump into recommendations on myvectordemo.com. I want to remind you, and you should jot this down, the program is that you get them to download the app. And let me just tell you this, it's easier to go to the gym and be healthy than to get sick and have health problems when you're older because you didn't go to the gym when you were healthy. Does everyone get that? You'd rather pay the pain on a daily basis of working out than go to the hospital later because you're going to have a heart attack, right? The pain of heart attack is worse than the pain of going to the gym on a daily basis. And so in other words, the preemptive pain is better to pay that price than to pay the price of going to the hospital. So it's a better price to pay to have your customer download this app. I'd rather, Bonham, take an extra 5 minutes to have the customer download this app and go through whatever tech problems they have in the beginning, then pay the price of having to collect referrals with the lame approach, where you're going to I got a pen and paper and I'm going to write down all the referrals you hand me right now, because you will always get less referrals by phone or by whatever, or by email, promised emails or promised texts. You're always going to get less referrals by getting them to read off names and numbers. You'll also get less wrong numbers because you'll be writing down numbers frantically and they'll read you the number and you'll put down the wrong area code, the wrong prefix, the wrong anything. That's going to happen, and you don't want to do that. So you'd rather do the program, which in today's day, remember, it's the second phone recommendations approach, right? Which is they have the app. The keys are still the same: ask for referrals, smile, and follow the script, right? But instead, you're going to say, all right, answer those questions. All right, and then let's go ahead and jump into, and you can refer me to the first 100 or 200 names in your phone. I'm just kidding. 30 or 40 is fine. By the way, that's rapport. If you can give me 200 or 300 of your closest friends and relatives, just kidding. 30 or 40 would be fine. Okay. And they still like, whoa, right? But then you're going to get 15 pretty fast. This will always give you more referrals, always. So it is worth it to do the program, which again, the program is they download the app at the beginning of the demo, and then it's easy to use the program down here and use the second recommendations approach and just follow it and read it. Okay. So that is really, really key, really important. Okay. I'll come up for air. That was point number 3. The program matters. The program works. Follow the program, get the app downloaded. I'd rather pay the price at the beginning of the demo, right? Having them download the app and figuring out the tech, right? And they think it's about verifying the demo to begin, right? That's what they think. And then it's very simple. You go to recommendations, and then it's really easy if they have the app downloaded to get them to do that. Let's ask any questions on point number 1, 2, or 3. Importance of referrals, rapport, and the program itself. If you don't have something like beaten on your brain, then that's fine, because I've got 8 more minutes to cover the last 2 points. But does anyone have something beaten on your brain? Go ahead, Bucky.
The app wants you to do the recommendation of who you are and how your product, how your progress was. So you get it set up, and then you'll just say, we'll wait to answer all the questions about the feedback about the demo afterwards.
Yeah, the first 2 questions are like, was he on time, and was he courteous, or was she courteous? Whatever, those 2. And then the third question is like, how is Bucky's product knowledge? And that's it. And it goes straight into recommendations from there. So you do question number 1 and question number 2 in the beginning, and you do question number 3 right before recommendations after you've written up the order. Correct. Thumbs up, Bucky. Does that answer your question? Good. All right, sweet. All right, well then here we go, guys. Number 4 point is HO, all about the HO, HO. Okay, what's the HO? It's the recommendations. I'm sorry, the handling objections, HO. Objections or concerns, they call them concerns here, but we'll call them objections, handling objections or concerns. Things like, oh, I'll do this later, right? And what you can do is you want to build value and say, hey, you could do it later, but honestly, Aunt Betty, you have a life, right? You got a job, you have kids, you have too many things going on. I do not want to pester you later. Do you want me to pester you later? You can write that down. Do you want me to pester you later? They're like, no. Even if they say yes, they merely mean no. No, I don't want you to pester me later. So that's a silly one. And to get over that, you say, Ms. Jones, I appreciate you wanting to help me out, but I'm telling you, I know you're busy and I don't want to pester you later. I don't want you to feel pestered later. I don't want to nag you. I'll just tell you, it's so much easier. If we take 5 minutes right now, it's kind of like ripping off the Band-Aid. I'm saying the music behind these words, right? Like, and you can say these words if you want. I'd rather rip off the Band-Aid now than worry about pulling it off later. So as a reminder, they don't have to buy anything. So if you could just start with the first 1 or 2 people on top of your head, and send me the rest later, that would really help me out. I love this because at least you're guaranteeing that you're going to get some recommendations now. I'll take that any day now, right? And then, who would be the top 1 or 2 people? That way she's like, all right, I'll give them a couple referrals. And the funny thing is, once you get her going, she'll give you more. And you could even rationalize and say, tell you what, if you gave me 2 or 3 now, if you give me 3 to 5 more, I don't even have to call you later. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, let me give you 3, because they see how fast it is. They're like, bing, bing, bing through the app, right? I don't know that many people. Guys, that's just a fallacy. There's no way they don't have 30, 40 middle-aged married customers in their phone. What they're really saying is, who do I know that would buy? I don't really know that many people that need knives. Well, lady, Aunt Betty, if you know who needs to buy knives in your group, you're a stalker. That's really weird. If you know who's thinking they need to buy knives, that'd be really strange. So, and I would say that almost, but sometimes I would say that. Ms. Jones, if you're stalking your friends and you know who needs knives, that's kind of weird. But hey, to each his own. I'm just kidding. But you say, Ms. Jones, I know you want to help me out. It'd be great if you could just help me people be nice enough to look. You don't need to give me people that would buy. It's anyone that'd be nice enough to look. I don't like to give out people's names. Well, Ms. Jones, I don't blame you. If somebody else was giving them a call. Besides me, I wouldn't want to give them their number either. In other words, it's only going to be me. It's only going to be me calling them. I'm not going to hand these into my manager, Phil or Shay or Sarah. We're only going to give, names of people that, I'm the only one that's going to be calling them. If you're in person, they're going to say, leave the sheet and I'll send them to you later. That's just, you get the idea. Hey, you're not going to send to me later because you have a life. Callbacks stink. If you want to write that down, calling back stinks. It stinks for them. They feel guilty because they feel like they should have done something. And you should feel guilty because you're bothering them later. Bothering them later stinks. Just remember that. You'd rather get 1, 2, 5, 10 now and show them how easy it is to give referrals now than it is to call them back later. Again, you can call your aunt, you can call your neighbor, you can call your mom, but calling some lady who you got referred to ask her for referrals 2 weeks later, 10 days later, 2 hours later, she's got a life, right? And this is the same thing. They're not going to call their friends. They're not going to do that, right? They're just not going to do it. So that's number 4. And with 3 minutes to go, number 5 step to getting referrals is qualify your referrals. Qualify them, right? And that's this. Hints on getting more and hints on finding out about these people. Again, some of you have never studied this page. I wouldn't blame you either, right? Because you're new enough. You haven't spent enough time on selling. You got to spend more time learning how to sell. And you may not have studied this particular Recos tab, right? Some of you forget step 2 on getting referrals. There's a step 2 on the boomer approach when they can't get the app downloaded. And there's a step down here when you're getting referrals from people, that are given to you on the app, right? Step 2 is where you're getting more information, right? Step 2 is where you're having them send those 3-way texts. Hey, my friend, this is my friend Bucky. He's going to give you a call. And they do the text information that's straight out of the app. Some of you haven't bothered to do this heads up texting, the 3-way texting. So step 2 is getting them to do the heads up texts, and you can call them a lot easier. But I also want to point out that step 2 to getting more is to get more and to qualify. Hey, if it was me, if you were selling Cutco, if you were me, who would be the people you should call for? Who would be the people that I should call first? Getting the sponsorships, getting them to get 10, 20 referrals to get you the sponsor or the double sponsorship, right? Ask for out-of-town recommendations if you're not already doing that. Ask for Cutco owners. That's worth writing down. I always ask for 3 lists. This is Phil Bolander. This is not on the screen, but this is before the screen existed. I used to ask for 3 lists. I used to ask for people they know that don't have Cutco, number 1, right? People they know that do have Cutco. And finally, number 3 is out-of-towners, because people in South Jordan are going to refer you to people in South Jordan. They're not even going to think to Sandy. They're not even going to think to, Salt Lake or Draper. People who live in Lehigh aren't even going to think to Orem. They're going to think of Lehigh, Saratoga, right? They're going to think of people right close by, Highland, right? So they're not going to think of people even in Provo, let alone in Idaho, California. If you know they have family and friends from a different state, go ahead and get them to get you referrals from people in a different state, because local people will give you local people. If you did a demo for someone in Idaho Falls, sometimes they'll think, well, you're in Utah. Who do I know in Utah? But then you might want to ask for more local people. If you're noticing a lot of 208 people giving you 208 numbers only, go ahead and ask for referrals for Utah people, right? California, you get the idea, okay? So that's the 5th tip, is to qualify and get more. Find out about each of their, because don't they blab? Raise your hand, shake your head if you think, yeah, they like, oh, let's see, Aunt Betty, Nancy, she buys everything. She's loaded. How many of you guys have had customers like literally blab about their friends? Like, she's loaded. She buys everything. They hunt like crazy. They have 10 kids. I want to find out that information about each person. So I'll either have them send me the referrals, and then I'll put notes in my phone about each person, like go to their referral thing in the app and type in some notes about the person, or I'll write down information about the people that they refer me to. Oh, she's your sister-in-law? Okay, cool. I'll write that down. She's the soccer coach. She's the she's in charge of the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, whomever. Great. That's awesome. Thanks for letting me know that. I want to know who the bishop's wife is. I want to know who the Relief Society president is. I want to know who's the town gossiper. I want to know all that stuff. Okay. And that makes it easy for me to build rapport. Going back to number 2 tip that I gave you at the beginning of this, right? Getting more rapport is like, hey, Nancy, are you the greatest cake baker in the entire neighborhood? She's like, why, yes, I am. Who told you that, right? Who are you, perfect stranger, that knows that I'm a great cake baker? I used to love doing that. It would be like awkward when I call them and like, I heard you're the best soccer mom on the planet. She's like, how do you know I'm a soccer mom? Yeah, you're right. I am the best soccer mom on the planet. You know what I mean? And they'll be modest, not, right? And so it's fun to build rapport that way too, when you qualify your recommendations as you get them. Okay. All right, guys, thank you for being here. I've got another meeting I've got to get to, so I'm going to stop the recording.